AITA for asking my husband to stay with his family while he's unemployed. I saw this one on our AITA a few months ago and was invested in the outcome. Just a heads up that OOP is male. I am not OOP. OOP is you, throwaway 7,487,473. He has stated this will be his only update, so I have marked the story as concluded. A reminder that OOP is male since I've seen quite a few comments referring to him as she. Trigger warnings. Mental health struggles. Less than. Mood spoiler. Hopeful. Less than. Original post. August 17, 2022. My husband, 32, and I, 30, have been married for just over a year now and things couldn't be rockier. I have a good job and make a decent amount of money, whereas my husband made not as much as me. Due to this, and the fact he was still living with his parents when we got married, we decided he would move in with me and I would continue to pay the rent and bills as long as he put money toward other things we may need as a couple. My name is the only one on the lease. However, once we got married, he started to cut down on his work hours without saying anything. First he gave the explanation that I made plenty of money for the both of us so he could just work part-time and do the work around the house while I was the main breadwinner. I was fine with this. A little upset that he had just assumed this would be okay, but I didn't say anything as this felt fair. He did do some work around the house initially, but spent the majority of his time going out to the bar, playing video games, etc., to the point where I was the one both working and doing the cooking, cleaning and other household chores. My husband told me he was laid off 2 months ago for reasons out of his control. I assumed in this time that he would begin job hunting, and I began to pay for everything. While I do earn a decent amount of money, it's not to the point where I can pay for rent, bills, groceries, insurance, contribute to emergency savings and finance the lifestyle my husband had started indulging in. I began paying for his nights out, subbing him money for trips to look for work, etc., all while I was under the assumption he would be searching for a new job, at least to finance his hobbies. About a week ago, I asked him how the job hunt was going and he told me that he didn't feel like it was worth it. He said to me that he was comfortable with what we had now and I wasn't happy, to say the least. I confronted him about how I was doing everything to finance and take care of our household while he sat around and played video games. I was being an ass here, I'll admit, and during this argument he let slip that he had actually quit and never looked for another job. I was furious that he had lied to me and told him I didn't want him in my home right now. Fast forward to now. My in-laws are understanding to an extent but are calling me an asshole for not wanting him to come back home until he gets a job. I have seen my husband in this time but never in our home. Always out somewhere. I no longer pay for everything and his attitude toward me is making me question our entire relationship. He's calling me an asshole for doing this to him, and I'm beginning to think he's right. Am I an asshole? Comments. I did get a prenup. Yes, as I just did not feel comfortable having completely joined assets when my name is on the majority of things we purchased as a couple, in response to if they will get a divorce. I don't know. I'm estranged from my family and spend most of my time working, so I don't really have anybody else aside from him. I've never seen this side to him before, as before this he was always charming and respectful of our agreement. I just don't think it's such an easy answer. I want to do everything to make it work before I consider such a thing. Update post. October 19th, 2022. Hello everybody. Thank you all for your patience when it came to an update. As I mentioned on here, my 32M husband and I, 31M, had an argument which resulted in me kicking him out of our home. Since then, The dust has been able to settle and we have been able to work through our problems. I would also like to clear up here that we're both men, as some people assumed I was a woman. My husband and I met up for coffee in public a couple of days after I made my original post. He's quite the avid Reddit user, and in hindsight I probably should have assumed he would see it, but these things slipped my mind at the time. He apologized a lot, actually, about everything. After having my husband back for a while, his parents began to really tear into him about his habits and behavior, and that he'd have to work hard if he wanted to keep our marriage together. We're currently seeing a couples therapist to work through the remainder of our issues to make sure that we're 100% on the same page before we move in together again. My husband also started working again and moved into his own apartment after working through some personal problems, and we're almost at a point where we're back to where we were before all of this. We talk every day, go on dates, etc. Aside from sharing a space, and we're comfortable with this. I would like to admit here that I definitely wasn't as good as a partner as I could have been. My husband's given me permission to share with you all that he'd been struggling with his mental health a lot in the time of his unemployment, and I feel ashamed that I was too busy with my work to notice. I didn't know it all. This isn't an excuse for mine nor his actions at all, but we're communicating and he's finally reaching out for the support he feels he needs. I'm happy with where we are, and I feel like he's not hiding his true feelings and intentions from me anymore, which I kick myself every day for making him ever feel that way. Right now we're not planning on changing our financial arrangement or involving a lawyer like some of you suggested, as I don't want to cause myself or him any more stress. Some of you may disagree, as his parents have been gunning for me to change financial information, get rid of everything he has access to in case he attempts this again, but I trust him. This man is the love of my life, and if I can't believe that what he tells me is true, then I don't see a point to staying with him. Once again, thank you all for your support. This is my final and only update. I sincerely hope the best for Oop and his husband. I hope the husband continues to get the support he needs and that their relationship becomes even healthier for both of them. His parents have been gunning for me to change financial information, get rid of everything he has access to in case he attempts this again, but I trust him. His parents, who have literally known him his entire life, don't think he can be trusted, and are warning Oop. But Oop, with their 1 year of marriage under their belt, is all. I trust him. I'm estranged from my family and spend most of my time working, so I don't really have anybody else aside from him. Yeah. See, this is probably the root issue to address in therapy. I don't really have anybody except the lying, manipulative mooch. So I guess we'll just stick together, is not a healthy approach here. I might have bought the "but mental health" story, but the husband unilaterally decided they could be a one-income family and lied to his partner over and over. I think he's incredibly lucky that Oop is willing to consider a second chance, because I would have had papers delivered within a week of him leaving. Personally. God, I so badly want to see one of these posts from the moocher's perspective. Like, seriously, what was he thinking? Who else thinks Oop's husband will go back to his old ways once Oop feels safe again in their relationship? His parents are advising you to separate you finances so he doesn't have access? No parent would suggest this without reason. Oop is being way too forgiving. Lying. Making major life decisions alone. Expecting Oop to work and take care of the home. Oop is being manipulated, and I don't see this ending well. He changed right after they got married because he thought Oop was trapped. Bruh, please, he's just pretending, until he thinks he's safe and go back to what he was doing. Right now we're not planning on changing our financial arrangement or involving a lawyer like some of you suggested, as I don't want to cause myself or him any more stress. Some of you may disagree, as his parents have been gunning for me to change financial information, get rid of everything he has access to in case he attempts this again, but I trust him. After having my husband back for a while, his parents began to really tear into him about his habits and behavior, and that he'd have to work hard if he wanted to keep our marriage together. Ouch. I'm not surprised the husband is chagrined. I sympathize with the husband struggling with mental health, but that is still absolutely no excuse for lying to and taking advantage of your partner like that. Totally selfish behavior, and I couldn't imagine doing that to someone I was married to. I don't know how to feel about the husband. I don't buy his shish-hash tea at all. I hope for the best for them both, but I'm wary that the partner's parents are urging OOP to protect their finances at the end of the situation. If everything is improving, why would they do that unless they know something they're not saying? Man, OOP's a lot nicer than I am. If I was paying for everything, including this guy's trips to the bar or whatever, and then find out he's been lying about finding a job and even the fact that he got fired, just so he can leech off of me, I'd never want to see his ass again. LMAO. Sue OOP's husband saw the post, manipulated the hell out of OOP and gave an excuse for everything, and did the proper amount of love bombing and apologizing for OOP to go all lovey-eyed again. His own parents are warning OOP about his husband, and this dude is so blinded by love he can't see it. He's gonna ruin OOP's financials. I hope I'm wrong, but honestly, this future is predictable. Not wanting or being able to work due to health is fine by me, but you can't do it unilaterally and dishonestly when you are married. Like, my GF is likely never going to work, and that's good with me, but this was something I was aware of before our relationship. Really. Never become your partner's parent. I don't care where their mental health is. Depressed but going out to bars and making trips? I'm distinctly suspect that the hubby was cheating. I do not buy the mental health story at all. Maybe if he was staying home playing video games and generally being lethargic, but he was going out and going on trips to find work on OP's money. Where the fuck was he going if he wasn't actually job hunting, and who was he going on these trips with? Also, he knew OP is lonely and doesn't have a support system. It sounds more like he's just a big ol' user who decided to use OP for his money after marriage, because he knew OP wasn't going to go anywhere once he locked it down. Reading things like this makes me so glad I'm not planning to get married. Phew. That he'd been struggling with his mental health a lot in the time of his unemployment. And I feel ashamed that I was too busy with my work to notice. I didn't know it all. Cleverly framed so that it's OOP's fault that things got that bad. Love is weird. Mental health issues, or gold digging. Or both.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.